said that one.
You can't Kanye the shit. Like, I'm gonna let you talk about it.
So go ahead, finish.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm waiting for silence.
Oh, I want a masculine dude. I guarantee you, this is what I'm saying. Hold on. This is what I'm saying, bro. Listen, if you a big dude, you're a size, you know what I'm saying, you're a nice size. So a lot of people gonna be attracted because of your size. But when they see somebody petite, I want to be around him because he will get the attention that a lot of gays like. Whether y'all want to be real or fake. Let's be real. He will get more attention just because of the type of size he is, and then you gotta be real about it.
Okay, so you know what? It's not a broad statement when people who's married with a goddamn 6-month-old kid who was just born hitting you up in LA Fitness talking about they want to fuck you. So here's the thing, and let's go ahead and be blunt. I'm sorry, then you can go ahead and beat that out. But
I can't subscribe to the concept of me being with a woman. It will never happen. The only reason why I had sex with that female because a guy was in the room and we did a threesome and we ran a train on her. That's it. It's just not for me. Sex is not. What's your name?
Cam.
We met
Wesley.
Cam before at the day of the
When I was
party.
walking out, all y'all was mad lit.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's all good, I
We
understand.
met Cam before.
What's up, Cam?
Nice to meet you.
Dontez.
What's up, man? What's up?
I know I look different every time you
What's your
see
name?
me.
Yeah. You said what now?
I look different every time you see me.
Look different?
Yes.
So we all look different, we all have our days.
All right.
Yes.
It's all good.
Fourth floor.
Alright, for sure. Well, I'm on the second.
All right.
Alright, how long y'all gonna be down here?
From till 7 o'clock, 7:30. So if you want to come check out a segment and see what it's about, you can.
Yeah, about that. I'll definitely come back down.
Cool.
Okay.
Alright, nice to meet y'all.
All right.
For sure.
We need that special guest.
We ain't got no room.
You are.
Oh my God! You know, like y'all said, Jack Pro.
It's so silly. Y'all are mad. We need that special guest. Y'all
Here's our
mad.
special guest.
We need to talk about that.
talk about.
Shout out to Cam.
That's his name? I forgot it already.
You know,
I'm in director mode trying to figure this out.
Like, that's his name, I forgot.
What's going on, world? Thank you guys for tuning in to A Connection TV, the network, the one channel on YouTube, where we actually adopt similar connections despite our differences. And welcome to Culture Clubb. As it is customary that we do on the show all of the time, we're going to reintroduce ourselves from our right to our left. State your name and who do you think has it worst? Gays, lesbians, whites, blacks, male, or female?
Oh.
My name's Chris. I know that much. Who has it the hardest? I don't know if I can really say. I feel like there's levels of circumstance within each situation, you know, whether you're white transgender or if you're like,
Just answer the question.
I don't know. That's my answer.
All right.
My name is Levi Eric. Yeah, I agree with Chris. I feel like that's like comparing like apples and oranges. It's like, or it's too many. I don't know. I would say lesbians.
Okay.
I would say, agree with Levi. My name is Olivia. I think that black lesbians who are Muslim right now in 2017.
I didn't mention
probably.
religion.
I mentioned religion because it mattered. Because it mattered.
My name is Wesley. And I struggle with answering that question, so I'm going to say that I don't think any one faction or group of people has it worse than the other.
my name is David. I'm gonna go ahead and take a stance and say black gay men have it the worst.
All right.
My name is Dontez Davis, and I'm gonna say black transgender women has the worst.
Okay, I'll go.
All right. So, we went to the worst restaurant in Atlanta. I think it was like 2 weeks ago. I think it's called Joe's on Saturn or Joe's on Neptune or something along those lines. And it was just the worst. And the reason why it was the worst is because the service was just despicable. I mean, it was a long waiting for a wait, for another wait, and it was just ridiculous. And then when we finally sat down, because I made a complaint, we sat down, then had to wait even longer for our waiter to come up, then had to wait even longer for us to get drinks, then had to wait even longer for us to get a meal. Then we also had to wait for our bill. So it wasn't a good situation overall. But before we started that 7-hour wait, she was discussing something of a particular matter, which kind of sounds like how we started off this episode, where I asked them the question. So I'm going to let her go into what the conversation was, but what I grabbed from that conversation on the tail end was that she believes that women have it harder than men, and what I remember hearing was that she said that gay women have it harder than gay men. You can come in and this seat's right up in here, you can have a seat. So that's what I remember hearing. So you can come right in, okay, all right. So Olivia, because you know,
You lost your mind.
David wasn't there. Well, he was there at the Planet restaurant, but I'm just saying he wasn't there when Olivia was talking about were you there when she was saying that?
Yeah.
You were saying in
I think I was the
close
first one
proximity.
she talked to.
Okay.
He was saying in a close proximity.
Okay.
So let's be clear. So first off, the reason why the conversation started is because I was talking about one of my friends, who I will keep him confidential, one of my friends who likes to go on a very long rant about the woe is me, he's a black man in America, and he's got it so bad, and don't nobody have it worse than him. And at some point in time, I usually get to a point where I'm just like, bruh, you are still a man. So let's not forget that. Like, yes, I understand your struggles. I'm not taking away from your struggles, but you are still a man, which means that when we line ourselves up side by side, yes, we're both gay. Don't get it twisted because I'm a femme and because I'm the unsuspecting gay that my life is easier than yours is. I'm still a black woman, okay? So when we talk about certain circles, like especially in corporate America and things like that, I don't have as much, wherewithal as you do as a man. I don't get paid as much as you do. I get paid typically 30% less than my male counterpart, whether you're black or white or whatever. Okay, so I can't hear you because the same kind of, discrimination that you get, I get that, plus I get the fact that I'm a woman. I get the extra level. So transgender women, yes, I will say, yeah, you got an extra level that I don't have to deal with. So I will give them grace and say, you know what, you're right, mama, and I'll step back. But never will I sit in a position like he was, and I felt like when I got into the conversation again with another gay man who was just like, no, you don't understand, it's the same. I'm like, no, it's not the same. That's like me saying, like I put the religion in it, that's like me saying that my struggles are as deep or as difficult or as challenging as a gay woman who's also Muslim in today's society. That would be ridiculous for me to be saying that kind of comment. Or I have the same struggles as someone who is a black gay woman who is also poor. Like, no, I have to respect her challenges and say, you know what? You got that, sis. Like, and respect her challenges. Not saying that my challenges are more than hers or hers are more than mine, but respect that she's got an additional level or that person has an additional level that I don't have. And I feel like, unfortunately, my brothers, y'all don't feel me on that. Y'all be like, no, we the same. No, we not the same. We're not the same.
So I will agree in saying that we're not the same, but I can't, until I walk through someone's shoes, I can't say whether or not someone has it worse than the other person. The reason why I say that is because I don't know how they internalize their struggle. So someone might not look at their situation as, like, the person that's going through it might be like, oh, it is what it is, I don't really care. But then another person will be like, that's the worst thing to ever have to go through in life. I feel, because I am a black man, that I already have to deal with that. I mean, I don't know if anyone has been chastised or prejudged by a cop arrested for no reason just by being black. I don't know if people have had that experiences, but for me, it was one of the worst experiences in my adult life. Like, you know, to be in my 30s and to be like, oh my God, it took me to 33 to finally go to jail. And then I went to jail for what? Because I was black. And that's the sole reason that I'm gonna feel that I went to jail, because when I talked to my white friend about the situation, they were like, oh, I went through that, but I didn't get arrested. So what I look at that situation is like, maybe I just had a cop that was going through a bad day, and I can't feel that way because I'm automatically going to assume, because of the world that we live in, that it had everything to do with the fact that I was a darker skin than he was. So yes, black people have it very hard in America, but I feel that gay men have it extremely hard in America as well. All you have to do is just plug that back in, and you can just sit on this one right here.
And I'm not negating the fact that gay black men do not have it hard. I'm not taking away any of your challenges or your struggles. What I am doing is, see, what you said was the internalizing part. What I am is going to say that if we're talking and we're having a deep conversation, that you don't negate the fact that there are people who have more challenges that you don't have to face. And so by that minimum, that you can be able to embrace the idea that, you know what, you don't have it as bad, because these are additional challenges that you don't have to face.
The only thing that bothers me with your statement
Okay.
is the fact that you say, well, you're still a man. Society is constantly trying to emasculate the black gay man.
Yeah.
And then we do it to ourselves, which does not help. I'm not saying that's anybody's fault.
Yeah.
But that's a struggle within itself, just to get that manhood back and still be who you are and not just fit what society wants you to be, right?
So what I understand is that you're saying that they emasculate, meaning you have a position of power that they're trying to alleviate.
It's not
you
about
from.
a position of power. It's about
By
it is what it is.
emasculating, it's taking away from. It's meaning that there was something there we're taking away from.
Not in terms It's of not power, necessarily power.
Okay, so let's not say it's power. Let's say it's not power. There's something being subtracted. Are we in agreement with that? There's something being subtracted, correct, right? As a woman, there is nothing that's being subtracted. We have to try to build to get to that same footing. Okay? So you're already at a footing that I can't meet you at.
I think it's an illusion, though, from my understanding.
It's an illusion.
One of their.
I'm imagining
For a
this.
second. Can I respond?
Yes.
So when it comes to, for instance, I'll use this example, when black gay men have that best friend who's the black female. Like, black females, or females in general, tend to take to gay men, you know, very welcomingly, until there's a situation where they end up online. I'm trying to figure. Okay, let me use an example. So I went on a cabin trip. There's this group of, I don't know if you've heard of it, Coast to Coast Boys, and we all went on a cabin trip, and everyone was expressing themselves just openly and fun-loving. And then there was a picture that was taken at the pool party. Now, I will say a lot of the guys did posture themselves a lot differently for the picture because they knew it would be different. You know, they knew people were going to be seeing it, you know, and so they kind of internalized that a bit. The picture ended up online, and there was a post that was put onto this big social media account with like over 100,000 followers, and the caption was like, "What's wrong with this picture?" or something. And there were so many people who were saying negative things about the guy, saying it looks a little bit suspect. A lot of black females saying that it's wrong. And I find that a lot of times black females will be okay with another gay person until there's a certain situation or circumstance. Then they have the most difficult time really showing support. And I'm trying to think of a particular example. I don't know if any of you guys can help me out.
So we're
with that.
saying something. Are we saying that those
it's being
women?
fake. You know? I mean, if you want to kick it with somebody, and it's like he said the other episode, it's cool to kick it with somebody until it get to a point where you have to really like associate with them and be viewed in their same light. And
Right, like
oh, you accept that? Nah.
Like black women will love that gay best friend. They'll be like, "Oh my god, my gay best friend," and then if they're child is gay or their son is gay,
Right.
you
It's a
know,
problem for 'em.
it is huge.
But y'all are still
issue.
putting it to black women, and I have made sure that I am enunciating and saying black gay women. I'm not talking about just black women. I'm speaking specifically in the pocket of black gay women. I'm not talking about black women because I do understand and I empathize and I say that I do hear you and I have seen that happen.
Okay.
That's not the space that I'm talking about. I'm talking about women who I identify with as well as myself. That when I have my brothers on the other side of the rainbow, y'all, and we're having conversation, and for me, I feel sometimes isolated. I feel like the odd man out because you guys feel like we're on the same footing, and you don't really understand or acknowledge the fact that there are additional challenges that I face as a woman who's also gay and who's also black.
I think it's kind of hard for me to acknowledge it if I don't know anything about it. Like we live,
what is it?
yeah, we live two completely different lives. And when I use my eyes to look at the world that I'm in, that I sit in today, I hardly see any lesbians struggling. I just hardly see it. And so I understand why those people at that Planet restaurant were combative with you, because they're like, what are you talking about? You're a female, you get all these perks, you can do this, people have to do this for you, people have to, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking about? So it's like, when I look on the news, I don't see black lesbian going through blah, 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 or this person, female, going through, like, I don't see that as much as where I see black man shot by cop, blah, 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 or gay lynched and hung. Like when I hear about the catastrophic murders of gay people, I don't see very many women in that. I see a lot of men in that. So maybe we're just looking at, I just see different media, but just regular day-to-day life, when I turn on the TV, I will not see anything about a lesbian. I just won't. And I haven't.
Can I say something real quick?
Go ahead.
Okay, when it comes to like homelessness and stuff like that, I see majority as far as the LGBT are transgender black women and black gay men. So economically, I understand what you're saying that women makes less, but overall now, as of today, women are slowly making more because college-wise, they going to school more and they graduate. As far as black men, we still going to jail for social reasons wise. So economically, y'all's moving up. So that's changing. For socially, y'all always been accepted as far as being lesbian and being gay. For
I think you're looking at it from the femme side.
As far as the black community and for as overall, because we most straight men like you said, fantasize about lesbians. Mm-hmm. So it's still socially accepted. But when it comes to men, no matter if you're masculine or feminine, it's not accepted at all. At all. Okay. So that's why I would say that it is harder for transgender women because they get it socially, economically, and mentally. So that's why I don't agree that as far as the lesbian have it worse than anybody else. I think the black transgender women has the worst. And it gets targeted. That's the worst.
I'm not taking that away. And honestly, in truth, sitting here, I will tell you, yes, they have an additional set of challenges that I don't have to deal with. And so, yes, I do kowtow and I do bow down and say, yes, my transgender women who are out there, who are part of it, yes. When we were going around, unfortunately, I did not put them into perspective at that moment, but can kowtow and say, yes, black transgender women do have it more, they have more challenges.
The worst.
They have more challenges than black lesbians. They do. I will say that.
Really exciting, even though Naomi Maldonado is a Latina, a commercial recently came out for Nike. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Naomi.
She has a commercial for Nike?
For Nike.
It's on TV?
I guess so. I didn't see it on TV, but I saw it online. But it was all produced and everything. And
what?
Yes, and so it was amazing. I would encourage everyone to check it out on YouTube and stuff because that is a huge, huge leap.
Yeah, that's big.
I heard from somebody else, not confirmed, but that Naomi is the first transgendered woman to do a Nike commercial or anything like that. So it's difficult as things may be. You know, I feel like we have what's happening in society is we have one push from one end, and then we also have a movement on the other end. And I feel like we're in step, in the right direction. That's an example.
Okay. Levi hasn't said one word this whole entire episode, but before we get into Levi,
But he can't talk now.
do me a favor. See how the time stamp. Look at the monitor on the top of the monitor. You're gonna see like the time rolling. How much? No, right here, right
In the front.
In the front. What's the time say? On the top.
22.
22 minutes.
Yep.
Okay. So we started at. Okay. I just had to remember what time we started. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to go back and say that I think that a lot of the points that both Olivia and Wes are making are correct and accurate, and that they aren't mutually exclusive. That overall, as far as the men versus women, men do and probably will always have it better than women. And a lot of that is just because of historically, like all the major religions of the world put the man above the woman. And it's just something that's been so ingrained into every society that I can think of, except for, the Amazons.
Right.
Thinking of Wonder Woman. Every culture puts the man above the woman. Men are always going to have more privilege and more power than women. But in America, if you are a black man, you have it worse when it comes to police brutality and being arrested and being profiled. I think black men by far have it worse than black women in America. But as a man, you still also hold this internal power over women, which is just there because of the culture, the history. It's so ingrained into people that men are greater than women. So I think that you're both correct, and you're not a black man, so you don't have to go through the same struggle as Wes. I'm over here, a little white boy, speaking about you guys, so this is all from my perspective, obviously. But at the same time, you're not a woman, and you don't feel that repression that all women have internalized in them, regardless of their skin color, regardless of their sexuality. All women can relate to this repressed feeling.
So outside of race, I mean, in the last couple of videos, you talked about some of your struggles. So I think the message for this beginning portion of this Culture Club is that trying to acknowledge, going back to that word acknowledge, trying to realizing that you aren't alone in a lot of the struggles that happen in today's world, I guess is where my mind is trying to wrap around this whole thing, because I just go back to that point. I don't know your struggle and I don't see your struggle. Oftentimes than not, I'm not going to see your struggle. And maybe it's because I'm oblivious to it, or maybe it's just I'm not paying attention, or maybe it's because I really don't read that much about it. But I don't know your struggle, and I'm not going to sit here and say that you don't have a struggle. But I think it's very interesting to let people know about your struggles, because me and David are like, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I want this episode to open up your eyes to the fact that black, transgender females do have it hard, especially, and just to piggyback real quick, when I was working in retail way back when, there was a brave soul that went through and got the job. And they started off as presenting themselves as a boy, but then throughout their job, they transitioned. And then it became a situation where like other employees were like, well, so how are we supposed to handle this? Are they a female now? Are they not a male? What bathroom is she supposed to use now? Am I calling this person a female name or a male name? Because when they came in, all of their stuff was male. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of those questions. And back then, I didn't even know how to respond to any of that. But it was a person, I don't know if you guys know Regis. they go into retail companies and they count their inventory. Well, that particular person was one of the counters, the auditors, and you could just hear everybody just talking about it like, oh my God, I can't believe, like, how do they, like, what do they do? And I wouldn't even know how to feel in that position or how to even act in that position. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, it's just weird, interesting. I would like someone to come on the show with that perspective. If you're watching, if you're in Atlanta and you are trans and you would like to be a part of the show, I would love that. If you guys know of anybody that would like to be a part of the show, I think that would be awesome. But closing off, how do you feel that we could get past it and support each other through our struggles?
By what we doing now, talking about it. Because, like you said, if we don't know about each other's struggles, then how can we fix it? So, talking about it.
Okay, David?
I basically agree because, like you said earlier, I must have been oblivious or haven't seen many examples, and we all just need to support and uplift each other ultimately, because it is maybe different levels of struggle or whatever have you. It's still pieces of it that's the same. So we all just need to be on one accord.
How do you feel about everything that was said? How do you feel?
I'm appreciative of where we are now, that we're at least starting the conversation. Let's be clear. For me, yes, like Levi, highlighted. Black men are getting pulled over and they're getting murdered and things like that. Let's not forget Sandra Bland. Let's not forget the countless women who were a part of that struggle. Let's not forget that I know personally, I'm not putting out business, I know personally women who are gay, who have been victimized because they're gay. Not, taunted, but raped. When I tell you, I know so many women who have been raped by men to be like, I'm gonna get the gay out of you. Like, that's a different level that you guys, I don't know how you don't know these things. That you might get beaten, and we are sexually molested and raped when we come out and say we're gay. As women, we are gang raped. We're beaten, bloodied to basically be feminine, more feminine. Granted, this is not my own experience because I'm the unsuspected gay, but I've had so many different groups or powwows with other women who are more masculine of center and who are crying their eyes out because they said that they were gay and their daddy beat the hell out of them. Just like they were a grown-ass man. Or their sister sat there and molested her. Or the mother, made her go out and have sex with another man to be like, no. And while she stood there and watched. These are not stories that I'm sitting here and I'm thinking of like Hollywood. These are stories that actual women told me, that I've sat down with. These are things that, yes, you don't have to go through. I understand. I'm not taking anything away from your challenges. I'm not. I recognize as a black man that you guys have a lot to go through. Think about that and the oppression that women naturally have and being victimized and being like, we might not always be killed.
There you go.
So we might not.
You look good. I like your haircut.
Just for a minute.
I like your haircut.
We might not always be killed, and I just want my brothers on the side of the rainbow to respect that. The same way I can respect your journey, and I can acknowledge it, and I don't dismiss it, because that's what I feel like happens. Y'all go like, black man have it the worst. I don't want you to dismiss me.
And that's mainly, like I said, I think that's mainly because I don't know. Like, go ahead.
All I remember, I think of Queen Latifah, Rosie O'Donnell, Oprah. I just remember seeing black gay women kind of just rise above and be successful, and I didn't care that they
You
was
call Oprah
gay.
I knew you.
All right. I was waiting when did that what was that confirmed?
I said.
All right, good.
None of those are confirmed, right?
Right, no, not even Dana. I'm Queen Latifah.
Right.
What's the new artist? She has a real deep voice. She always has her hair
Ooh.
Young
She hosted it.
Mom.
Yeah, that
Young and May.
Young and May.
She's like been hosting at Prides all summer and stuff like that. And I think that it's great. But to your point, I do feel like I've seen more movement through society with being a black gay woman. My first experience was, my first best friends were all dom lesbians. I didn't even know that they were gay. And one of the biggest takeaways that I got from it was being around their family and seeing how their family had come to accept them, I feel like at a quicker and easier pace.
Right.
And the only reason I say that is because also in high school, their experience, they were able to be, on the basketball team, and they were able to
be themselves.
To be themselves and still get accepted from females as well as straight guys as well. Like I always saw, females as having, they always had the dom lesbian friends as well, even as straight women. My sister herself, she's straight, but she has, lesbian friends, and she was okay with them before she was even okay with me.
That's not my experience. That's not my experience.
And I was gonna say that as well, because my aunt was gay, and my aunt was like the biggest tomboy, like dude, chick, and what, like thinking about it, like hearing you say that, just thinking about like, oh, that's Aunt Corey. Like it was never like a dramatic issue at all in my family, but I could never play with Barbie dolls. I could never do this. I could never do that. I could never do this. But she could come and be like, hey, nephew, da da da. And I think about it, literally, I think about it now, and I'm like, subconsciously, indirectly, that's been implanted in my brain that as a man, I can't, but as a female, she could.
I just want to say this real quick. I see and I hear your struggle. I hear it. I'm glad that you let people know about the lesbian side of the struggles of being openly lesbian. So I just want you to know I hear it and I see it.
Thank you. I want y'all to see Pariah. There's so many different films that are about this, that women have to, you are basically forced into, dressing more feminine. And that's what I'm saying. When it comes to the doms and the studs, they have much more of a struggle than I do. Because I like wearing feminine clothing. I'm an aggressive femme if I had to categorize myself. I like to call myself queer, but I'm an aggressive femme, so you'll never know unless I sit here and say, hey, I'm gay, right, in real life. Like, no one will know. So I don't have the same kind of struggle as a dominant or a stud or an aggressive or a masculine of center, however they identify themselves, woman. So I hear what you're saying, and I know that yes, that is true. My story was easy. My mom was just like, oh, yeah, I was waiting for you to tell me. Like, my story was super easy. However, there's so many of my sisters who, that's like a 10%. The majority of the women that I know that are in the life, not these younger people, I'm saying like 30 and above, they went through hell. Like, and I saw it. Like the same stuff you see with, boys being beat up and stuff like that.
Like not to get it twisted, I really feel like black women are just amazing creatures on this earth. I think like the black women are like the strongest type. Like I just feel like they can handle a lot of pressure and trauma. But I was raised by a black woman, so
me too.
So maybe that is part of the reason why we don't see that struggle, or we're used to them being so strong
and putting a smile on it.
I want to be clear
and
too.
not addressing how they really feel about it.
I want to be clear. I'm not negating the experience. As far as like when you're an adult and everything. When you become older, and the reason I took it back to high school was because the most interesting thing about my best friends is that we were best friends before we knew we were gay. But as they began to transition into their comfortability, I saw so much more of an ease. And I felt like it would be so much more of an ease because really the first thing they started doing was just, with at least doms, was changing the way that they dressed. And it's always been easier for a female to wear men's clothes. It's always considered.
So I have to cut that and say, I don't want to cut you off, but I have to cut it and say like, anybody who's like from if you're 29 and younger, yes, I agree with you. Yes, you are absolutely right, and that's valid that the younger crew, they have it a lot more easier than when I was coming up. When I was coming up, oh, you got beat down in the middle of the streets. What are you wearing? Why are you wearing that? Like your mama, your cousins, your big brothers,
Where are you
everybody
from
would
again?
beat the hell out of you. I'm from Brooklyn,
New York.
which is supposed to be very progressive. And I would see some of my homegirls who would get beat down in the middle of the street with a belt, and everybody and all of her friends are looking at her getting beat up because she is wearing tomboyish clothes. I'm not saying that reality is happening today, because New York is a progressive place, and now with the way society is shaping us, we're able to embrace more of the LGBT. I mean, look at today is like, pride, whatever, and it's really a great thing. What I am saying is, when I was growing up, so I'm 36 years old now. When I was in high school, that was not my reality. As far as girls coming, I didn't want to come out, and I'm a fan.
In fairness, you have to match the reality of your peers at that time too, to be able to tell that story, because there were still black gay people in that time who went through a different degree of circumstances because of that time. I think that the reason I bring it back to high school is because a lot of our issues when it comes to the gay community begins with the socialization process, with as far as what we feel like it's okay to do and what's okay not to do, and the indoctrination happens in our mind that we begin to create strongholds about how we're going to be viewed if we start to do certain things. High school a lot of times is that first place where you are put with a lot of strongly opinionated people that you have no control over, and it continues throughout life when you end up in a job, when you end up on a casting call, when you end up like in different environments. So the biggest issue is how you see yourself, and I think what happens with, at least me, I can speak for myself, one of the difficult things for me to identify with other people is I don't think about certain things anymore. I think maybe I just block certain things out, and I come to accept certain things. Maybe that's a bad or a good or bad thing, but when I realize I'm in a situation, someone's looking at me because I'm gay or because I'm black, I dismiss it, because in order for me to be happy and be free, like, I just can't carry that weight. And so I feel like maybe that's why it's such a challenge for me for this conversation, to have to get back to a space where I was conscious of things, where now I'm just...
So closing off on this segment of this particular episode, what do you think we need to do as a society, and speak to the camera, as far as being progressive with everything that we just discussed today? And then Levi, if you can say your part as well.
I think that we need to share our experiences. We definitely need to tell each other exactly, what it's like or what we're going through. As much as, for me personally, I will admit that during this conversation, I'm still I feel like it's a process, but I feel like for everyone, we have to get the conversation started, because a lot of what ends up hitting you later, because it's like, wow, I didn't even consider some of the things that I thought about. So, yeah.
Okay. Levi?
Just going back to the original topic at the very beginning, I think that we shouldn't compete for the Pain Olympics to see who has it worse. I don't think the question should be who has it worse out of these people. I think the question should be, what are these people's individual struggles, and what can we do to overcome those?
All right.
Or acknowledge. I just want acknowledgement. I don't need you to help me overcome them per se. I would like it, but I want you to at least acknowledge that I got struggles too, and not dismiss me. Like, girl, bye, you got it so easy. No, I don't.
We're all struggling. We live in a fucked up world.
We do.
And some research and come back.
Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in to this particular segment of Culture Club. Check you back right after this segment break. I know what you're talking about because I've been in certain situations where I would go to a movie theater with a guy, a buddy, or whatever, and that question, he will always ask, where do I sit? And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Just sit, it's a fucking seat, sit down. But and my straight friends would sit a seat away from me. They would not sit because they don't want to be perceived as. Now I don't know why y'all minds think that way. I don't know, but
what I'm saying is, to me, it's very, very, very important to identify as gay because it changes the perspective of gay. For example, you hear a lot of straight men, they do homosexual things because they don't identify as gay, they get away with it. So it can be a good thing and a bad thing. So for me to identify as gay, and I wish that other people who are successful,
go find Cam,
who are, in some type of achievement where people look at them to come out as gay because it will change people's perspective. Because right now, gay is still looked upon as bad, but if you have somebody people who look up like, oh damn, I didn't know this person right here was gay. Now I don't see gay as a bad thing anymore because now I can relate to you. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's very important to identify as gay because it was slowly it would change the title of gay. If that makes sense.
So could that be one of your reasonings for doing Culture Clubb?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So then no longer in your mind should you ever doubt why you do Culture Clubb.
It's still hard. It's still hard,
That's
bro.
it.
It's still hard.
That's it. Because everything that you said right there, everything that you said right there should be affirmation and confirmation as to why. Welcome back, guys. We are here and we're going to talk about something else that's kind of heavy. Yeah, I'm not going to even say kind of heavy. It is heavy, period. And this is an issue that I feel that I've had as I've coasted through life here in the United States of America. People attaching homosexuality to being molested and thinking that molestation is the reason for them being gay. So, not to open up any, wounds if anybody has been molested here, but I would like to go around the table and say, do you think that molestation is the reason why you're gay?
I personally don't feel like molestation is part of the reason why I'm gay. I did go through a molestation experience. It wasn't necessarily, I guess, traumatic for me. Some people make it seem like it's always going to be traumatic. You're so young. Sometimes you don't really know what's going on. But I feel like it's not a factor. And the reason why I wanted to say that I felt like that before, and then it also happened as well, is because gay people are not the only people who get molested, or go through that experience. And so people still end up being straight or whatever the case is. So I also want to put into the fact that, yes, you can still feel like you're different and something is different about you, and you just feel like a different life experience is coming. Back when I was young, we didn't have the internet, so I couldn't really figure out what that was, but I just knew that I was like fancying people that other people weren't. So.
Sir Levi?
No, not at all.
All right, Miss Olivia.
No, I've never been molested, and I'm gay, and it's fun.
I think my biggest problem with that, and I used to get upset. Like I used to get, and not to take anything away from anybody's experience or whatever, but I used to get upset or feel aggravated at the fact that people would just attach, oh, you were molested? Oh, so then that means you should be gay. Or, okay, that's okay because you're gay now because you were molested. So I get why you're gay. Something like molestation has to be the reasoning behind me being gay. I've never been molested. So once again, not taking away from anybody's experience and how tragic and or not tragic that could have been for you. But I don't think that is a direct connection for me as to being gay. David?
No, personally, not for me. It didn't happen to me. And when I finally was outed, because I didn't get the chance to come out. My mom was asking, well, baby, did anybody touch you? And I was like, no, Mom, this is how I am. And yeah, I don't think molestation makes people gay that I know of.
Okay.
Me personally, I was never touched or molested or anything. But however, I can say that some people became gay because of molestation. I would say that. A lot of people don't realize that sometimes, this gonna sound stupid, but let me explain it the best way I can. Sometimes getting touched does feel good to a certain extent. I know that sounds crazy, when sex does feel good. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying it does feel good. So sometimes people end up doing things that quote unquote wasn't right to end up liking that situation. So what I'm saying is that yes, that feeling could trigger you to like something that you didn't realize you supposed to like, if that makes sense.
So you're saying that...
I'm not saying all people who are gay was molested, but I'm saying I can see why some people who are gay that was molested. Because of molested, yeah.
So you're saying in an alternate reality, that same person who is to this day is gay, in that alternate reality, if they had not been molested, they would be straight?
Absolutely.
How can you prove that?
There's no proof in that, but I'm saying I believe that. For example, let's say environmental. Let's say when you go to prison. I'm not saying, some people that end up doing gay stuff in prison, if their environment triggers or change their mindset to do things that they wouldn't normally do. So when they go to a prison, let's say that they got touched or they've been around women that haven't been around women a long time, and they end up doing some sexual things, they say, I like it. So now, since they like it, they start experiencing more. So it kind of makes sense to me if something that happened traumatically alters your mindset to like it. Maybe
that's just speaking of sexuality as a whole, showing that sexuality is a spectrum, and that maybe that gay and straight and bi aren't nearly as cut and dry as they are, but that anyone can have a physical experience with someone of the same sex and enjoy it. Because that's something that I personally believe.
Right, but what I'm saying is, I'm not saying for every situation, but I can see that because of the reason why you've been touched make you the outcome of being gay. For example, you heard another example about women. You heard of women say, I was promiscuous because I was touched as a younger child, because of the situation they did as a child, been touched about, their family or friends, something like that. They end up being very promiscuous because of that sexual drama. That happened. Many women have said it. I know that you heard women say.
I'm not saying I haven't heard it, but I still always debate them and say promiscuity and being a lesbian are two separate kind of things.
What I'm saying.
I'm not promiscuous and I'm a lesbian.
I'm not saying every factor. I'm saying I can see in certain situations that outcome is because of that.
So here's what I want to say real quick, because at first I was going to be ignorant and just be combative to what you were saying because of the simple fact that I am gay and nothing. I feel like the act of molestation is vile and negative, and I don't want that placed on me and have that be an accepted reason for me being the way that I am.
Agreed.
And I feel like I'm that way naturally. I don't feel like in my life, me speaking for me, I don't feel like there's anything that has occurred in my life to make me naturally love men and naturally want to be with the same sex. For me, everybody is different, but I think when you came up with the alternative of what happens to men when they're in prison, I was like, okay, Dontez, you better go ahead because I was about to come at you really what are you talking about? But you make sense. Everything that you're saying makes sense. So I don't want you to think that what you're saying doesn't make sense and that it's not true for some people. But I think the message that I want to get to everyone out there is the act of being sexual for me doesn't equate to gay. Gay for me is a way of being, is a way of feeling, is what is internal. So the physical act for me is not gay. I don't think just because a guy, and this is me, I don't think just because a guy physically has sex with a man that makes him gay. I think if a guy is able to fall in love with the man, is able to connect with the man, they have that energy, that relationship aspect is there, love is love, then to me, that person is gay. Because I've had sex with a female and I will never in a million years call myself straight, ever. But the physical act was done. And so for me, I feel like that sexual, like you said, the touch and all of that could make someone lean more towards to wanting to be touched by a man again, maybe, I don't know. But I feel like there are some gays that exist, because I know of one that feels that he is gay because he was molested, and I argue with him all of the time because I don't want him to feel like he can say, like, it can be excusable for you to say that I'm gay because I was molested, because that to me is just bullshit.
That
like,
could be reality though.
and I only think that that's cooked up in his mind because the world makes us how we're supposed to feel. Like there has to be a reason for us to be gay.
That situation never happened. Like you just said, how we prove that point. So the fact that he's saying that maybe if that situation never happened, he wouldn't. So who's to say that that could be true?
I think we're talking on both sides of whatever the saying is, the argument, because if we're going to say that sexuality is on the spectrum, then can we not argue that the experience to become or aware of your sexual orientation could also be on the spectrum as well? That some people could be born gay, some people could be predisposed to being gay, and then certain situations come around and unlock some of those things that people don't even realize. When it comes to alcoholism, there's a gene that's passed down as well that made people predisposed to be an alcoholic, so there are going to be situations on a spectrum. Now to your point with jail, and I feel like yes, in isolated situations there's going to be coping strategies, I think, for the sexual experience, but I don't necessarily know if it's for the emotional experience.
That's the thing, because you have sex, it could be either or. You don't have to be emotionally attached to somebody who has sex with somebody, right?
Right.
That's
the reason why I understand why he said, because I wasn't emotionally attached to this person who touched me, to make me think now I kind of like the feeling of being touched. So it makes the exact same thing. For example, when you say,
but that doesn't make you gays, which is what everyone is saying.
Can we not wrap around like the concept that maybe there is more gay people than we can even fathom, like, and we just don't realize what makes somebody gay because it's so many.
Right. In order for it to be on the spectrum,
we put these ideas that people are getting molested and now that's why they're gay. This is why people are turning gay, when in all actuality it could just be that we can't identify what would trigger or make somebody kind of just come out into their gayness, quote unquote.
And so we want to attach something like that's vile and negative, like molestation.
That's so masculine. You can't be gay. Like I think molested.
But that could be the ultimate reason why somebody like that. I'm pretty sure if you go over a percentage of openly gay people, lesbian or gay, that I hear women say I like women because I got raped by a man, or it makes them scared of men. So what I'm saying, so that could change as make you like something as well.
I'm not. I hear what you're saying, and I'm gonna say, so then I need to understand everybody's definition of what they feel like being gay is, because then that'll help me understand where you're coming from. Because for me, like, I'm in agreement with what Wes and Chris said as far as there's an emotional attachment that I'm going to get and that I define as the portion of being gay. The sex, me having sex with a woman is a bonus. It is not what I feel like as a definition of being gay. The definition of being gay is that emotional attachment, that want, that yearn, that need, that when I look at a woman, I have a little bit more butterflies in my stomach than I do want to look at a man. Not to say that men aren't attractive, because I think that they are attractive as well, but it's just that connection, that's that gravitational pull that lets me know.
That's mentally though. That's mentally.
But that's the construct of being gay for me.
That's what I'm saying, because you're mentally happy accepting who you are. Not everybody's mentally happy being gay. I'm not mentally happy being gay, but
you know that you're gay because what?
Because I like men.
Why?
Because
what is
I
it
like
about?
men. That's
you
the
just
reason.
like
That's the only reason
you just want
why.
to fuck a dude. That's it.
That was the beginning of it. Let's be real. You gotta understand.
But there's more to the definition.
Okay. This is what I'm saying. That's when I become more comfortable with myself. That's when I realized I had feelings. There's a difference of fucking and feelings.
We saying the same
no, we're
thing.
not. You saying no, we're not.
But this is my thing. Attraction goes a long way. We're making it say, oh, you just want you want to fuck.
You're saying
they don't have no.
I'm not saying.
They got ass that you just want to be sexual. You just want to be nasty.
I did not say that. I'm saying that being gay
I'm
for me
just
as a
saying-
definition is different outside of sex. So let's go around the table and
I
ask.
guess I'm gonna just put my definition out
Thank
there.
you. Go
Okay.
ahead.
I am attracted to men. That's from head to toe, their, anatomy, all of that. I cannot fathom me not being attracted to men. I think that alone is enough to say a person is gay by definition. Now, do the emotional connection and stuff get there? Of course, naturally. I can't pinpoint and say whether or not that is the ultimate factor and that's the reason. I can unequivocally say it's because of my level of attraction. Just fucking is just, pretty much there's a hole when you put into it. That's just
Sometimes that doesn't necessarily make me think that she is gay.
So no.
It makes me think that she was molested.
No. I'm talking about as far as being sexually permissive.
But that's what we're saying.
Okay,
That has nothing to do.
So let's go back to what Dontez
Burn
was
enough over here
saying.
on this side of the table.
Let's go back to what Dontez
We have
was
opinions
saying.
too.
Yes.
Our opinions
I
matter.
don't
So
remember.
what's the definition of gay for you? That's where we left off
The
at.
definition of gay.
What makes you gay?
When a man likes a man, a woman likes a woman.
And
When you
what
say like,
capacity?
when you say like, you gotta be specific. Sexually,
Yes, sir.
emotionally.
I think it could be either or. It could be all that, but I don't think they're gay until they act on it. I would say that you can mentally think it, but you're not actually gay.
So
until
you think
act on it.
somebody could walk by, you be like, damn, that nigga fine as fuck, and he's not gay?
Yeah, because he is. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So
Me
what makes you already said what makes you gay? You right? You said what makes you gay?
Yes.
The emotional connection.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think that statement does make me think that this person is not tapping into the fact that they may have, that they may be gay. When you sit there, when David said, oh, that motherfucker is fine as fuck. Just because I didn't fuck him doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not internally like on some gay shit.
Can I say this?
Before we dig deep in that, because I think this can go on and on.
Yes.
But before we dig deep, sir, what's the definition of gay for you?
I don't know. I guess I've always thought the traditional definition of gay would be a man liking a man. But I think it's a lot more complex than that. It's hard for me to sort through that. My views on sexuality are very complex. I'm still under development. That's why, even though my church says gay as fuck, which I am, I prefer the term queer because I think it's hard to define. Sexuality isn't black and white. You're not always going to be gay or lesbian. I feel like even people who believe that they are truly like 100% gay could still, like Dontez said, if they were a man that's completely gay, if they were in a prison with a woman and that's all they had and they started to like touch them, that they would have a pleasurable heterosexual experience. So are we talking about like sex-wise? Like
It's whatever you define it as.
I don't know, I can't define it because for me it's so complex. I can see I still have like a 15% like heterosexual pull where I'm attracted to women.
Destroying this community. For that, right?
I know, yeah, I don't
This
like the
is why
labels. I don't
labels are
like the label.
destroying
Yeah.
I don't like
community as a
labels.
whole.
I think anyone
Gay, straight, all
anyone
that.
outside
We're
of
human
pure
beings.
heterosexuality should identify as queer and that we should drop all the other fucking bullshit labels
I
and
agree.
stop arguing and like trying to define what is gay and just be like, we're queer. And whatever
I
that
just
means
say
to
we're
you,
human
embrace
beings.
it.
Like, what does it matter who I'm sleeping with? What does it matter to
Yes.
this person?
I don't know.
What does that?
So I feel like one thing I want to hear that I have not heard, and I feel like we have to take into account, using the term coping strategy, as a factor when we explain the sexual experience, because there are going to be situations, for me, as far as being gay, it's everything that's outside of a coping strategy because of a situation or a guy who raped me or something like that. So I'm not going to, because I know females who've said like, I'm gay, I'm like, okay, like because of this and that, and then they end up years later back, in a heterosexual relationship because there are going to be situations, post-rape, jail, proximity, area, anything that could lead to a coping strategy as far as your sexual experience, how you're going to get, how you're going to get off. But for me personally, as far as being gay, it's an emotional connection. Like, y'all saw, I'm not going to say anything. Y'all saw it earlier. But it's just like, it's a certain aura, it's a certain balance that I aspire to. Everyone knows I'm a really deep person. Like, I feel like when it comes to attraction and laws of nature and attraction, there's always going to be a positive and a negative type of pull. And I think that wherever you find that draw to come from, you can't really explain it, but it's you want to go there intellectually, you want to go there emotionally, you want to go there spiritually, you just want to sit there in silence with each other, you just want to smell them, you want to feel them. All that stuff like that is so much deeper than just being in jail and I've been here so long and I just need something to just kind of like rub me the right way. Like, that's not.
I think. Because I'm hearing everything and I'm just like.
Don't be devil's advocate.
I'm not.
Because you know you believe that shit.
No, I'm not gonna discount or discredit what anybody's saying. But
comma,
exclamation point. I think in today's world, like, we're forced to believe in something and we're forced to feel something and we're forced to, what do you think, and define something. At the end of the day, I think a lot of the times it can be cut and dry, like cut just right down the middle. It is what it is. But I feel like we have to create a world. We have to create a world of thinking within that, so that we can kind of excuse our actions and excuse this and say, well, I don't attach myself to labels because I am this way and I'm free, or because I don't subscribe to this way of thinking, I'm just gonna do me because I'm free. Whatever that means to you, however you want to feel, great. But at the end of the day, what is it? You know what I'm saying? And for me, no. Like, if the lights are off and somebody's trying to suck my john, it might get up because of the concept of somebody sucking my john. But once them lights go on, if it's a female, it's going down. Basement, like Nicki Minaj was saying. And so it's just, for me, it's just like, no, I can't subscribe to the concept of me being with a woman, it will never happen. The only reason why I had sex with that female, when I had sex with that female, because a guy was in the room and we did a threesome and we ran a train on her. That's it. It's just not, for me, sex is not that fluid to where one day I'm gonna feel like this and one day I'm gonna feel like that, and who knows, and we'll see. And none of this is because I was sexually molested as a child. None of this is because my father told me this is the way it's supposed to be, or my mother told me this is the way it was supposed to be. I started acting out when I was 5 years old. Okay, 5 years old. And even before then, I was looking at Alex across the street because he was Puerto Rican and he was cute. So for me, like, it was just in my mind, it was like, oh, I want to play with that Barbie doll. That Barbie doll cute. I can't play. Why? How come?
Right.
Because I'm a guy. Oh, okay. So I gotta go play basketball. I don't want to play basketball. Why can't I play with my figures? Why? You know what I'm saying? So none of this, like, I don't know that life where it's like, okay, you should feel this way, and so or you were taught to feel, I watched the Cosbys and that told me how to be a black man. No. I knew what I knew because I knew it and felt it, and it was in me. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I just wish more people could experience that, or would allow themselves to realize that that's probably what it was, instead of a TV telling you what to do, or instead of a man telling you what to do, or instead of your parents telling you what to do, or the world telling you what's okay for you to believe and it's okay. Like, no, fuck out of here. Yeah, I'm not gay because I wasn't molested. I just want to say devil's
advocate to your way of thinking, though, because you said that, you want people to think outside of what the realm that they've already accepted or been challenged. I thought that sexuality was something that was truly categorical as well. And so I went to college and I started taking psychology of sexuality, multicultural psychology, and then I started to realize that sexuality is on a spectrum, that it's not always going to be cut and dry. That's part of the issue. If we look at sexuality like we do at hair color, how you're going to get people with blonde hair and then dark hair, and you're going to get everybody in between. The same thing with eye color. And so when it comes to the gay community, if you really just take a step back and look at all the different sexual experiences that people live out truthfully, you'll see that you have people who are they're gay, but they like to dress, in quote unquote masculine way, and then you have gay people who go down the line, and then you have people who wear girl clothes, but they still identify as a man, and then you have other people who identify with being transgender. Like, you have people all up and through that different level of experience, and it's not for me to invalidate that, because I personally haven't seen it for myself. That's me being able to say that I'm going to be challenged by what is real to me and what may or may not be. I may not understand that. It's not for me to understand. In order for me to accept certain things, I just have to be able to look beyond my own way of categorizing.
I feel bad for y'all. I feel bad for y'all, and the reason why I feel bad for y'all, I feel like the world has told you you have to have a reason behind everything you fucking do in life, and being who you want to be naturally, you have to attach a reason to that. So I subscribe to what you're saying.
That's not what we're saying.
Really?
That's all I
heard. That's all I heard. I heard.
No.
You're not listening. You're not listening.
Because,
what are you talking about?
Somebody sitting there saying you can't say this song.
No, because I'm just like,
We did not say that.
Okay, all right, so specifically in one sentence, say what he was trying to tell me.
What he's trying to tell you is that sexuality is fluid, so there may not be a reason and you can't label and box people in. You're saying black is black and white is white, and that is not what he's saying. That's not what either of them are saying. They're saying that there is a spectrum for everything, and so they refuse to sit themselves inside of a box and say this and this and this and this have now created this.
I'm still lost. I'm still blind, and it's okay. I still feel bad for y'all. But here's my situation. So
I feel bad for you for feeling bad for us.
So here's my thing. So what y'all are saying is, right now, Tuesday, you can be gay, but in 3 years you can like females. That's what you're saying.
I'm not saying me.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying me.
That's what you're saying.
Do you believe?
That's what you're saying.
Don't lie. Don't lie.
I'm not saying I am not saying I subscribe to that. I am saying that I'm opening up space for the people who do, that I understand.
Can a straight man go gay?
I can never understand.
Yes,
So
I'm saying yes.
So can a gay man go straight?
Yes.
So then you answer the question.
It's all right. I feel bad for y'all. I really do. My heart.
But we never said that we believe that homosexuality stems from something that happened.
Like molestation.
I don't believe that at all, and I don't want you to think that I believe that, because I don't know where you got
So
that
how does
from,
somebody
that
go
we're saying
from
that.
gay to straight? Doesn't something happen?
Because sexuality is
because
fluid.
sexuality itself is not cut and dry.
Thank you.
Sexuality itself is a complex thing, and it's different for everyone.
So you say
and it
that
can change.
you
People
can wake
change.
up one day and say
It's not like that. You don't wake up one day and I'm straight. It's a gradual experience. It's an opening. It's a realization that maybe there's more to me than just sucking dick and taking.
Yeah.
Maybe
So,
I'm starting to see that I really like breasts. Like, those are actually kind of attractive. And I'm intrigued at
where
what
are
it might
these people
be.
located? Like, I need to.
Right
Here's
next to you.
Right here. Here's
Like-
one.
Right. Like, he's
I've
talking
never
about.
heard of that.
Okay,
before.
so
outside of Jerry Springer, like I've never heard
Boy.
of that.
So then this is what you're saying, because I believe that I'm intelligent enough to comprehend, and I'm trying to hear everything that you're saying so that I don't misinterpret what you're saying. So you're not latching the concept of sexuality to a physical action or an excuse for the reason why you feel what you're feeling.
Absolutely.
What you're saying is that you're allowing your mind to be open to the possibility of that love if it's what you want to feel at that particular time.
Absolutely.
Okay. Fine.
It's a myriad of experiences.
Not necessarily if it's what I want to feel, but if it is what I am feeling.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
Because
you.
love is
And
love,
once again, you're not attaching that to what the world is telling you should be
Exactly.
doing.
Right.
Okay.
It is.
Okay.
It is what
Suddenly,
it is. I just never
for
seen
whatever
it before.
reason that I'm not giving a specific reason, but for
So then I guess-
whatever happened,
so then-
I'm suddenly starting to see things in a different light.
And you know what? And this is what I'll say because we'll close out this episode. I think this is going to be like a 2-hour episode. This one episode.
I had a question for you. I didn't get that now.
So what this is a lot that we can talk about.
Let's do it to be continued.
This I mean, but what he just said, and no, once again, no disrespect or whatever, but what he just said to me makes me understand why people, for me, speaking for me, come down my throat with the concept of you not being born gay and being gay as a choice. Because what he's saying is that consciously he can make a decision that allows him to fall in love with.
That's not what he's saying.
How is
That's
that
not what he's
not- how is that
saying.
not a
He's saying
choice?
it's totally different. That's not what
He may
he's
come
saying.
to a
How
life
is that not a choice?
That's
He
not
may
a
come to a
choice.
life experience or feeling or epiphany that he feels like it's not right for him. Now, to that point, that would discredit every black gay person. Hold on, David.
Okay. I just
David,
wanted to
come
make
on,
sure.
David. All right, so that would discredit every black gay person who before got into a heterosexual situation because it was what they felt like they had to do in society, to only come to a point to realize later. That's why we have a lot of people in our community who are in their 40s, 50s, or beyond, who have children or who were married before because they got
And in love with their
and
wife.
in love
In
with
love
that
with them.
person, you know? But eventually, as they were able to see and feel different things over time, and as society made its way, they were able to step outside and experience something different outside of that. And that had to do with growth and you know, and saying that eventually I don't know everything. You know, personally for me, I don't feel like me being gay is ever going to change, but I give myself credit to grow. And I can't say the same thing. I can't give myself credit to grow if I put limits on what I feel like I know everything now, because by that logic, I would be that same bratty 21-year-old who's just like, you can't tell me anything. You know, until you get to the point where you were somebody who was married to a woman for 30 years, and then all of a sudden you realized you were gay, and you left that marriage. We have gay people all the time who get married because they want to be in a heterosexual relationship or situation, and then they hold on harboring this feeling for the longest time that they know that this is not right. And I have an issue with that, you know, because you know, I mean, it's sad to see people step into situations and try to hide from the reality, but I don't know, kind of running off the edge here, but.
Thank you guys for tuning in to this particular episode of Culture Clubb. Do me a favor, a solid, share, like, and tweet the hell out of this video. This was a very interesting episode, very interesting indeed. I'm very passionate about this because I just hear so many times, you aren't born that way, it's a choice, 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 or you're gay because, you're gay because, you're gay because. So I'm always trying not to be too completely combative, but anyways, follow everybody on their social media. And hit these guys up if you guys are curious about their thoughts about all of the topics that we discussed. Definitely hit them up and ask them their point of view so that you can get some more in-depth thoughts on how they feel. Thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. Later.